Black Sheep Games, something that the vast majority of a series fan base either don't know about or don't like, and if you like it, well, you're alone. Many have existed over the years. Mario 2, Majora's Mask, Super Mario Sunshine, Castlevania 2, Metroid, Other M, and so on. But there's one that I have a very special relationship with. Okay, fine, 2. I love Majora's Mask as well, but that game has a way bigger fan base, especially now. The other one I'm talking about is Super Paper Mario. It's my third favorite game of all time, after Earthbound and Super Mario 64. It was the first RPG I ever played. I played it actually before Earthbound, all the way back when I was 11. I feel like this game was the game that got me into RPGs, which in turn got me into YouTube. So if it wasn't for this game, Alpha Leaf Gaming wouldn't exist. Years later, I was pretty surprised to find out that not a lot of people feel the same way about it as I do. Most don't like it, while the few that do will place it as their third or fourth favorite Paper Mario. Regardless if you like the original or Thousand Year Door better, SPM is still an awesome game, and I hope by making this video, I'll get a lot more people to play it. It's not even that expensive anyway, it's like 20 bucks complete in box, 10 for disc only, and even only like 50 for brand new, which for Wii games is extremely rare. Oh, and one last thing. Major spoilers in this video. Anyway, let's get this adventure started. The first thing you're gonna realize about Super is how the story plays a much bigger role than in the previous 2 installments. The intro talks of a mysterious book called the Dark Prognosticus. Man, I cannot say that right. Prognosticus. Can I say this? You know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna say Dark Prophecy for this video because I have no clue how to pronounce this. And I can't pronounce crap, so sorry. This book tells the story of how the future will play out. Like, basically imagine if the real world was just a storybook, and then someone in that storybook got a hold of the storybook and read it and found out exactly everything that was going to happen. Everyone who has ever gotten their hands on the book, eager to discover their fates, have never again found happiness. And this story is about the last wielder of the Prognosticus. The scene next is out of order from the part after, which is kinda weird to be honest. Peach wakes up in a wedding dress at some kind of church alongside Bowser and his minions, Luigi, and this weird vampire guy. This guy named Count Bleck has arranged for Peach and Bowser to get married, and the former is psyched, while the latter is, terrified. When the I-do's come up, exactly what you're expecting happens. The Koopa King says yes, and the princess says no. However, one of Count Bleck's minions, Natasha, hypnotizes her into saying I do. Then out of the altar comes a dark mass, shaped like a heart. Luigi finally wakes up and attempts to rescue the princess, but in the process creates a chain reaction when jumping on the heart. The Count had arranged his whole wedding to summon this Chaos Heart, and will use it to consume all worlds. Not rule them, but destroy them. In the first game, Bowser wanted to defeat Mario and get Peach to like him. In Thousand Year Door, Grottus wanted to rule the world, as did the Shadow Queen, but here, the main villain doesn't want to rule it, but to end all life in the universe, and for the universe to not even exist. Then the title screen pops up. Oh man, now it's my least favorite part of playing through an old game. Which save file do I erase? And yeah, you see this right, I actually spent over 100 hours on a save file, and adding up all the time I've spent on other ones, and ones that are deleted now, my playtime probably clocks in at like 300 hours. I'm actually serious. Yeah, you can tell how much time I've spent in this, and how much I love it. Anyway, after starting a new save file, another cutscene starts. Mario and Luigi are just chilling at home, when Luigi is complaining about how peaceful it is. Seriously, dude? You spent like 99% of your life in danger, and now you complain about it being too peaceful? Way to jinx things though, because Toad comes over and tells the bros the bad news about the princess being kidnapped again. Well, what do you know? And since practically every time she's kidnapped the same guy's responsible for Bros head over to Bowser's castle, the Turtle Tyrant is having a meeting with his minions when Mario and Luigi come in. Then they find out that it wasn't Bowser that's responsible. No, it was Count Bleck. Mario tries to stop him, but the villain has a shield protecting him. Then the Count creates a black hole to suck everyone up except for Mario. He lies there, waiting for something to happen, until something wakes him up. It's a wireframe butterfly who goes by Tippy. She tells him that he's the hero of legend and teleports him out of the castle. They show up at Flipside, a town in between dimensions, where we meet Merlin. He tells us that there's a counter to the Dark Prognosticus, the Light Prognosticus. While the first tells of the world being consumed by darkness, the second tells of a hero saving the world and defeating Count Bleck. The book also gives a description of the hero, which Mario fits perfectly. The chaos released earlier by the Chaos Heart has created a new black hole in the sky. If it's not stopped, it will destroy everything. Just like the books, there's also a counter to the Chaos Heart, the Pure Hearts. Scattered across the land, our hero must collect all 8 of them to save the world. Mario accepts his destiny, and Merlin gives the plumber the first Pure Heart. Okay, one of the many complaints I hear about this game is unlike Rogueport or Toad Town, Flipside is pretty linear. Instead of it being a hub world with paths to other levels scattered throughout, all the entrances are in the same spot. You also have to look around and find a heart pillar to place a pure heart in it, each time. You get one, which can be pretty annoying. But I don't find it too bad, honestly. But this right here isn't the main problem everyone has with SPM. No, it's the gameplay, which we'll go over in just a minute. After placing the first pure heart in its pillar, a door opens to the top of Flipside Tower. Behind this door is another cutscene! Yay! Here we get to meet all of Count Bleck's minions. Here's Dementio, the creepy magician, Old Chucks, the dumb burly guy, Natasha, well, I'm not saying her name right, but I'm just gonna call her Natasha because that's what I've always called her. She's a secretary and a mysterious shapeshifter. Foreshadowing! We also learn of his plan to erase the universe and replace it with a new one like Thanos in Endgame, but this one will have no violence or war, so it doesn't even appear to be for a selfish purpose. Natasha also finds out of the hero starting his quest for unexplained interdimensional hopping, and right off the bat, Count Bleck sends in Old Chucks and Dementio to destroy him immediately, which is a pretty smart idea. Okay, it's time for a first chapter, taking place in the land of Linand, and now I'll talk about the gameplay. Unlike the first 2 games being RPGs, this one's a hybrid between a 2D game and an RPG. You move from left and right, jump on enemies, and platform, but there's also many elements of a role-playing game, items, HP, experience points, and many characters to interact with. This right here is the reason why people don't love SPM as much, and yes, I will concede, but I do like the gameplay better than the first 2 Paper Marios. But it's not bad. Sure, it takes some time to get used to, but there's a lot of fun to be had, especially of how you can level up your attack, something you couldn't do in the first game, or first 2 games, and you never have to worry about FP, which is really nice. There's also one other mechanic I haven't talked about yet, flipping between 2D and 3D. Inside a great house at the end of the first screen is a secret door to the interdimensional wizard Bestiovis, I don't know. He offers to teach you this technique for 1,000 coins, but in the end he settles for all the coins in your pocket. You can use this ability to go into the 3rd dimension for a short period of time, and do stuff like pass through barriers, discover secrets, or find another path. And we can't forget about its awesome power at the end of the level, the Mega Star. Like the Mega Mushroom, it makes players gigantic, but it also makes them 8-bit, with a better song playing in the background as well. Nothing stands in your path, and a level ends with you hitting a star block. Yeah, chapters in SPM are divided into 4 verses, which both benefit the experience by allowing more diverse areas in each chapter, but it also brings it down even more because it makes the places even more linear. The second level takes place in a desert mountain with these annoying thwomp wheels. Further into it is Yule Town. It was built by an ancient tribe who built the city, specifically for the hero's arrival. Using your flip ability, you discover a secret pipe in his house. Below is a room with thwomps and an entrance to another room. Going into the door causes it to lock behind you. Inside the room there's only a metal block, a switch you can't reach, and a treasure chest. You don't really have much of a choice, so you open the chest and find a pixel, the equivalent of partners in Super. They were created by the Ancients to aid the Chosen One in his quest, and all have different abilities. This one's name is Throw. Like his name implies, he can give Mario the ability to grab things and throw them. He was locked in a chest for like 1,500 years, and one thing that's interesting that he doesn't recognize Tippy. Foreshadowing again! Using Throw's ability, we can get out of the room, and with him in tow, the mayor of Yoldtown Watchet, seeing the pixel, gives us permission to go to the Yold Ruins, where the pure heart lies. Oh, and the bridge keeper asks us which color is the best. He loves green, so we can't say red, but we can't say green because we're wearing red. Both? Yeah, no matter what you say, he kicks you out, but at least, he brings the bridge up still. The next verse takes place in a desert in between Yoldtown and the ruins. What kinda sucks is how there's a lot of enemies that we can't attack, like clefts, unless there's another enemy around. This area is also cryptic. There's this part where you find this pillar that says you have to jump under a palm tree 10 times. Now the palm tree is at the beginning of the level, so players have to backtrack or remembering all of that. But that's nothing compared to what you've got to do at the end of the stage. There's another pillar telling us something interesting happens by pressing 1 and minus at the same time. Now this won't just work anywhere, you have to press them on a specific blue stone, which opens the entrance to the old ruins. There are no clues about this either, and I remember being stumped at this part when I was 11, plus I didn't even have any internet back then. There's also a fight with old Chucks halfway through. He has a lot of HP, and takes a lot of hits to be defeated this early on, and afterwards, the guy just farts out so hard he propels himself in the air. The final level of the chapter is the Yold Ruins themselves. It's full of puzzles with the flip ability and all that. You get keys, press switches, watch out for spike wheels, and move to 3D to press these switches that move back into 2D. And for me, the most memorable part of this is hitting the switch and having all these spikes of death, Avalanche and Mario, and you have to get away and press this other switch, and they fall down in this hole and fill this gap, and you can get across it and open this door. Now it's time for the boss. Right outside the ruins is the final stretch, leading to the pure heart. It is guarded by a robotic snake made by the ancients, known as Fractail. Thankfully, he sees it's Mario and lets him pass right by. Of course, Count Lex Goon, Dimentio, comes in and screws up Fractail's circuitry, making him attack Mario. And you've gotta love that Zelda 2 reference too, by the way. To fight him, you've gotta wait for him to attack from the right, flip and jump on top of him. Now that you're on top of him, you can take these little robots and throw them at his antenna. It does get a little annoying though, because once you hit him 3 times, you fall down and have to do all that all over again another 2 times, which takes forever. Once his antenna is hit 9 times, his systems crash and he blows up. I actually feel really sorry for him though. It was Dimentio's fault. Poor guy. Rest in peace, Fractail. Rest in peace. After that, a pipe opens to another chamber. Inside rests the soul of one of the ancients, Merlemia. Or Merlemina, sorry. I can't pronounce these frickin' names. Yeah, I think it's Mermelina. Anyway, she explains that she came from an advanced tribe from thousands of years ago, and has been waiting there ever since. Her tribe were the ones that created the Purity Heart to save the world from the Dark Prognosticus, with nobody knowing who wrote it. But on the last page of the book, it says that the chaotic power would devour the world. Reading this, the Ancient Ones took the Purity Heart and split it into 8 pieces and scattered them throughout dimensions for the hero to find. And then she spouts on and on about stuff that doesn't matter while Mario falls asleep and says he was listening when she asks if he was. Frickin' liar. She then finally gives him the pure heart, ending the first chapter of this awesome adventure. With 2 in hand, it's time for our heroes to return to Flipside, and you guessed it right, interlude time! Peach awakes at the Count's castle after the wedding, where Bleck's minion, Nastasia, is trying to brainwash all of Bowser's minions. Now, one change you have to give this game is how the interludes aren't so annoying. There's only a few of actual gameplay. Most of them are just cutscenes that you could press 2 to go through, because when you press 2, you go, do I really have to explain this? You can just press 2 until it's over. This is nice. There are a lot of times in the first 2 PMs where I get really annoyed and dread having to go for interludes. There's no frickin' cake scenes in this, and it's really, really frickin' nice. It gives me a frickin' break. The whole deal with this one is that Peach and a Koopa Troopa are trying to escape from the castle. What's nice here is that there's no way to die or have to start all over again. Eventually though, Peach runs into a dead end, getting trapped between Natasha and certain death, or Natasha, I'm sorry. Aw man, the autocorrect on here is really bad. It keeps autocorrecting her name to Natasha. I'm sorry, my script sucks. Anyway, just when Natasha is about to brainwash Peach like she did with everyone else, an unknown force comes along and makes the princess disappear. After that, we have this weird story thing. What the heck is this, you wonder? Well, it doesn't make much sense now, but trust me, by the end of the game, you'll understand its significance. Back at Flipside, everyone is talking back at Merlin's, when this guy comes in and tells us about a girl that fell from the sky. Lo and behold, that girl is Peach. She's unconscious. To wake her up, you gotta buy a fire burst and cook it to make soup. After giving her the soup, she wakes up, and everyone goes back to Merlin's to discuss. The third Pure Heart is located in Gloom Valley, the home of the mysterious charmer, Merlee. She, along with Merlin and Bestovis, are descendants of the ancients, making them all distant cousins. Peach then shockingly reveals she's going along with Mario, and I really appreciate how Merlin doesn't say anything like it's too dangerous for a princess or anything. Just that she's still recovering. It's a breath of fresh air from all the standard dialogue, although I doubt he even knows she's the crown of the largest nation on Earth, but anyway. Merlin gives them the key to the outskirts of Flipside, and we can now play as the princess. Unlike Mario, she can't flip, and no, you can't go back to Bestovis to get that ability for her. You can't, I'm sorry. She can, however, float in the air, like in Mario 2, as well as use her parasol as a shield, making her completely invincible. Using her skills along with Mario's, another heart pillar can be reached, opening the road to Chapter 2. The first verse takes place in Gloomy Valley itself, a place full of pink water, spiked enemies we don't have any way to defeat directly, and pink butts that spit bubble gum fart gas. What the? Merlee lives in a mansion far into the valley, but this escaped prison dude tells Peach that the mansion is deadly and she shouldn't go in there. If you speak to him as Mario, he calls him an old man that he hates, which was pretty hilarious to me at 11. Mario even gets a new pixel, Boomer. Yeah, I know what everyone is thinking right now, but the game developers really missed this opportunity and made him freaking hip and stuff, and he asked Mario a million questions. Such a missed opportunity. But he's this game's bomb character. He can be used to open cracks in the wall, and finally defeat those dreaded spiked enemies. He's my go-to weapon too for most of the game, so I say okay to Boomer. The next level takes place in Merlee's mansion itself. There's just something off immediately as you enter the building. But hey, what did you expect? Is there any place in gaming that has the word mansion in it? And that isn't spooky, like seriously, I can't think of a single one. There's these weird, creepy creatures all over the place. Oh, and our first waifu, Mimi. A maid working for Merlee. I'm not gonna lie though, even though I love this game, the amount of cute girls in this adventure is pretty much on the low end. Like seriously, okay, I don't want to get into that territory, but she says some creepy stuff, but that doesn't matter to me. The level's pretty short actually. All you've got to do is go into this room, press the switch, have the ceiling try to kill you, flip, jump on top of the death trap, get a key, use it on this door, which just so happens to also be the lock holding this creature in place. After using the lock, the Jaws doesn't go after us. No, he goes straight for Mimi. Something's not right in this place. Not right at all. Area 3 is where things get tough. Starting a level, you see this one thing on top of a coin block, so naturally, you hit it, and the vase on top of it breaks. Mimi, who somehow got away from that thing, comes in and says that the vase was her favorite thing. Listen here, Mimi, my favorite thing, or my most precious thing, is my copy of Earthbound. But you don't see me putting it, under people's tires, or, I don't know, on the ground for people to step on. I take good care of that stuff. You don't put your stuff where people are gonna probably destroy it. We now have to pay Mimi back in the amount it was worth. 1 million rubies. Another cool Zelda reference. But how do we get these rubies, you ask? By becoming slave labor, of course. Oh man. The whole goal of this level is to work in a scummy sweatshop until you get 100 rupees, and then go to this guy who exchanges the rupees for a code that grants access to another room. Inside this room is another sweatshop, but this one pays way more. Keep working until your total is 10,000, and then go to this other guy who sells another code. Next, go behind this wall and find yet another pixel, Slim. Slim can turn a player into a piece of paper when moving, or you can become invisible when standing still. After obtaining the pixel, you can now phase through these lasers that are blocking the path to the safe. Using the code from earlier unlocks it, earning us 1 million rupees. Now I've got to be completely honest, this right here almost made me rage quit this game. It took me a couple of days to finally discover the second code guy, and I actually thought you had to earn the rupees in the sweatshops. And remember, it takes at least 5 minutes to get like 10,000 rupees, so it would have taken me around 10 hours to get that many. I wonder if you somehow managed to get that many, if it counts, because you need Slim to progress further in a chapter. I guess the better question is, has anyone ever tried to get that many? I probably would've if I didn't figure it out, so... Once Mario gives the rupees to Mimi, it's revealed that she has cast some sort of magic on the mansion, and then she frickin' explodes! Oh, that's so violent! The only other place left to look in this manner is the basement. After entering, Merlee appears to Mario and Co. in a vision. She says that she has been in prison somewhere in the cellar before she fades away. The basement is a maze full of secrets and confusion, because if you go in the wrong door, you can end at somewhere you've already been for a different door in that room. If that makes any freaking sense. Higher up, it seems though that you've reached Merlee, but something is a little off. She asks us to sign a contract, which we refuse. After much frustration, the real Merlee comes in a vision, and that fake Merlee morphs into her true form. It's Mimi! If you think she's already a little creepy, just wait till you see what happens next. Run for the door as fast as possible, because Mimi isn't gonna give up on chasing you no matter what. You can't go anywhere that she won't follow you, and you can't even fight her, so continue on to the next part of the cellar, and another maze, and thankfully she is really slow. And touching her doesn't kill you instantly, or anything, but it still gives you that, like, dreaded feel of, oh crap, I have to get out of there. It's also really messed up how she snaps her neck like that. This right here is nightmare fuel. After navigating the labyrinth for a good while, we reach another staircase, guarded by a giant boot. Don't worry about it though, the thing dies in 2 hits. Upstairs is a bathroom of all things. Inside the ladies' room behind one of the stalls is Merlee at last. At the same time, Mimi finally catches up to us and shapeshifts again, creating a mess. There's only one way to determine who the real one is: a game show. In the bathroom, the perfect place for such a thing. You can ask them both various questions, and this is where this game's humor really shines. The charm of some of these responses is just great, like the guys they're into, their favorite smell, or what they wash first. It's pretty obvious which one's the real one from their responses, and even if you get stumped, one of them has flies around them for being in the toilet. Mimi, enraged by her trick not working, transforms back into her nightmare fuel form, while still snapping her neck doing so. Lovely. Unlike last time, Merlee gives us a magic cheer, which makes the green girl not so invincible anymore. Mimi is frankly a pushover, even easier than the first boss of the first chapter. She doesn't have HP, instead of having to be jumped on once to stun her, and then again to break off a leg. She has 6 legs altogether, and what's unique about this is that no matter how high of a level you are, this boss is still gonna take the same amount of time. And man, I smoked her good. She didn't even get in one attack or get a chance to go up on the ceiling like she usually does. Look, Mimi, even though you morphed into a monstrosity and work people as slaves, I still think you're the best girl in the game. Yeah, I'm creepy, I know. I'm desperate at this point. Why did I even write this in a script anyway? It's not funny, it's just creepy. With that over, Merlee explains that there isn't a hero of legend. No, there are 4 heroes. Peach and Mario are 2 of them. As for the other 2, well, just wait and find out. Her ancestors have lived at the mansion, waiting to give out the pure heart of the chosen 4 for almost 2,000 years, with her being the one to finally see the day. Back at Blex, the Count learns of Mimi's defeat. Not wanting to take any chances, he sends his best minion, Dimentio, to face Mario directly this time. Luigi wakes up around the same time. Not knowing Peach is already gone, he goes out to rescue her, but some Goombas trick him into using him as a getaway car, basically. And then you get to play as the Green Plumber. Kinda spoils who one of the unknown heroes is, doesn't it? Like the Peach interlude, the group eventually run into a dead end, and Natasha shows up. Unlike last time though, no one rescues Luigi, leaving him alone, as he gets brainwashed by Natasha. When the heroes arrive in Flipside, again, the void grows in size, continuing to do so as the story progresses. The elevators are now functional, giving us access to more places in town, like a card shop, a coffee shop, and a pit of 100 trials, which you don't want to do for quite a while yet. One thing I wonder is how the heck did all these people get over here? First off, there's only one way to get in here, and it's blocked off by a cracked wall. You have to use Boomer to blow up the wall, and it makes an entrance. Then you have to flip into 3D to finally get over here. How? These people can't even do any of those things. How did they get over here? Anyway, more areas are open in the outskirts as well, with Boomer and Slim in our party. One gives us a route to the switch and opens the entrance to the pit of 100 trials, which, again, we're not doing yet. And the other one leads to a heart pillar that marks the doorway to the 3rd chapter. Enter the Bitlands, an homage to the original NES title. Oh, not like we already don't have one of those in every single game, but it's still cool, I guess. On the downside, as soon as the heroes get to the Bitlands, a geek named Francis comes along and kidnaps Tippy and takes her back to his fortress. And I both love the reference to Thousand Year Door and 2000 geek culture as well, but it sucks that we have no guide for the rest of the chapter and have to go rescue her. In a bush, a pixel gives the player some advice. An X, red flippers, red wind. Remember this because this will be important later on. I think it's pretty easy to figure out everything though without his advice, so... and there's the internet today, so... And this is just a video, none of you are ever gonna play this game, so... I don't know why I told you to remember this. The pixel doesn't even join your party though, so screw him. Down between these 2 pipes is another segment, which looks awfully familiar. After that you come across a lot of Koopas that kick shell like soccer balls, which are annoying, as well as a castle with a big red X on it. Bombing it causes the whole castle to explode, and look who was inside of it. Bowser! Now it's boss fight time. Just bomb and look out for his fire, and he's out real quick. After a fight, Peach tries to get Bowser to join the team for some reason, but he refuses. Peach then tells him that Count Bleck, if he ends the world, there will be no world for him to rule, which gets his attention. That's right, the devs led you on to believe that Luigi was gonna be the next character. No, it's the Koopa King. It seems like he teams up with Mario a lot in the RPGs. He did so in Super Mario RPG, this, and in Bowser's Inside Story, which is pretty awesome. He has 2 main abilities in this game. He can breathe fire, and his attack power is double of the other characters. This makes him awesome against bosses and in fight, but for regular platforming, not so much. Beyond the castle is an ocean. Sea creatures here, such as bloopers, are enemies, which makes Bowser's fire come in handy. I really don't understand how that works, but okay. Only thing that sucks is how frickin' slow he swims. But we do get a new pixel, Funnily, the person who has way too much admiration for fat people. This pixel gives players the ability to ground pound. Using this on pegs after seeing a chart opens up a new route. At the end of it is a giant blooper. The pixel earlier gives a hint about its weakness. For Red Tentacle, it's one and only one that can be damaged, but it's so frickin' annoying waiting for the blooper to attack with that tentacle. Bowser makes this fight so much easier thanks to his fire and double attack power, thankfully. Not to mention that I used hot sauce, which doubled his attack power again, so that's like 4 times the normal attack power. The next verse is my least favorite in the game. You've got to climb this tree, and the slightest miscalculation can make you fall all the way back to the beginning. Inside the tree is yet more platforming, only it's made worse by having to activate switches to make platforms appear. Some are pink and some are blue. Only one color can be activated at a time, so you have to constantly find a switch to make progress. And it's such a pain if you fall to the bottom of the screen and have to do everything all over again. But that's made up for by a battle with Dementio at the top. He creates his own dimension to fight us in that supposedly makes him 250 times stronger than usual. What he didn't consider, though, is that it also makes us stronger as well. That doesn't make it any less annoying, though. He multiplies and throws magic ninja stars everywhere. It's so hard to hit him, too, because he goes high a lot, while Bowser's fire and boomer attack low. Jumping on him can also result in damage sometimes because he holds his ninja stars directly above him, so I'd recommend using Bowser to hopefully defeat him faster. With the magician out of the way, there's only one more thing in our way to Fort Francis, a cliff. To get across, you have to follow the pixel we met earlier as advice, and find some red wind to carry you over. Just as the main characters go down a pipe, on the other side a voice comes from the sky. Who could this be? Why, it's Dementio, but why would he want the heroes to defeat Count Bleck? This doesn't make any sense. Thank God that level's over, because Fort Francis is one big nerd pop culture paradise. There's references to online forums, the previous two Paper Marios, anime, waifus, comic books, action figures, and everything's a cat. I feel like this game is self-burning me right now, but I really don't care. It's stuff like this that makes me love it. Now, I've got to admit that Francis has the potential to become a millionaire too. I mean, just look at all the security and robots and stuff. Or maybe he is. Who knows? Me and him are even on the same page about how Bo being the best girl. Although the thing about a Miss Mouse doll with a real smooch feature is just, that's a little messed up. Down in a dungeon where you go after entering a wrong password is yet another pixel. Carrie, who asks the player what they think of Francis. How about an awesome, irresistible stallion? She even agrees with you, even though F-Stop was the one who locked her up. Carrie's ability is she turns into a board, making spikes no problem. With this, you can go around collecting keys and finally enter the room of the nerd himself. The security bot will only let Peach in, and she doesn't exactly give Francis the right message by saying she's been looking all over for him. Next, this game becomes, honestly, I have no clue what the heck this game becomes right here, but it is one of SPM's highlights. I guess it's a dating RPG or something? I'm sure it's a reference to something, but I don't know what. If anyone knows, please tell me. As Peach, you pick what options for her to say, but no matter what, the thing always goes the same. Francis gives the princess a pink princess poster. She gives it back, and I would feel so weird if someone watched me play this right now. Like, seriously, I feel like I'm watching porn or something. But anyway, eventually Peach gets fed up and breaks the fourth wall, following up by blowing up the screen. Now it's back to the real world, where Francis is scared of losing his only offline friend. He faces up for a fight. Unlike what everyone would expect, Francis is actually kind of tough. I guess tough isn't the word, but hard to hit. He constantly turns invisible, making him impossible to damage, and only turns back to normal for a split second for you to attack him, before repeating the process all over again. For the Chameleon's attack, he can drop these cat bombs all over the place, or even eat you up, but most of the damage I take is by accidentally touching him. Bowser and Carrie really make a great duo for this fight. Carrie makes Bowser faster, and a Koopa King's fire has a really long range, not to mention a lot of attack power. Lastly is the music. It's ridiculously catchy and awesome. I can listen to it all day. Even if you don't like SPM, by the way, you still have to admit, the soundtrack is a real gem. The geek may be tougher than he looks, but still not tough enough, because he's toast. Yes, we finally have Tippy back! Now I can look up enemy stats without the internet. Tippy herself is so overjoyed that a pure heart appears out of nowhere, making this quest a win-win. Guess what time it is? Chapter Interlude time. Only you don't have to do anything except press the 2 button to scroll through text. Yay! Dementio tells the Count of his defeat, but for some reason he doesn't get punished the same way that old Chucks did. Talk about a double standard. When everyone but Natasha and the counter left, they have a secret conversation. Apparently, Natasha was raised to health by Bleck, making her swear her total allegiance to him. But she doesn't really want all worlds to end deep down. But it turns out, Free were there. Dementio, after the eavesdropping, says some more mysterious thing. What exactly is he up to? When we return to Flipside, Tippy is a lot more cheerful than before. Merlin also tells the group that Fort Francis used to be inhabited long ago by the ancients, who had a pure heart in there, with a lock only unlockable by trust and love. Pretty smart, actually. In the outskirts, now that we have Fundly, these pegs can be pushed down, which in turn brings up another heart pillar and a door to Chapter 4. But before we go there, we remember the guy behind the bushes that gave us those tips. Well, if you go talk to him again, he is so impressed that he joins the party. His name's Barry, and is useful in a lot of ways. He can create a shield not only to protect Mario, but to harm enemies. You have to get the timing just right though, or else you're gonna take some damage, but it's still a really good move. Anyway, now that I've explained that, how about we go into the new door? Unlike previous chapters that take place on either Earth or Earth-like planets, this one takes place in outer space. Cool, huh? Well, no, because Mario can't breathe in space like he could in Thousand Year Door. Inconsistency if I've ever seen it. Tippy teleports everyone back to Flipside and ahead to Merlin's. He says that the only way to breathe in space is with a space helmet or something like it. Wait, what? First off, you need somewhere to get the oxygen from, as well as something to seal it in there. Second, there's other factors that count in to make it so humans can't survive in space without a spacesuit. Temperature, radiation, lack of air pressure, gravity, and so on. And you know what makes this even worse? Merlin says that he gave it to some kid who uses it as a fishbowl. Yeah, let's teach kids that all they need to breathe in space is a fishbowl. What do you think you're gonna do? They're gonna go up into space and... Oh, wait a minute, they won't. Okay, I guess it's okay. Why not tell kids they can walk on the sun? Well, I mean, that's not child endangerment either, because they're never gonna be able to test it out. So I guess it's fine. Once you move the kid's fish from the bowl to a sewer in Flipside, the bowl is now ours to keep. Let's try this a second time! And yay, we can breathe now! The first thing you'll notice about space is that the gameplay's changed completely. You can't jump or use Bowser's Fire or Peach's Parasol, but instead float with the D-pad. There's no enemies yet either. The only thing you can see is an SOS message from the bottom of the screen. Following it leads to a capsule, which a little alien guy comes out of, Squirps, who is really annoying, but you've gotta feel sorry for the guy later. Squirps knows the place where the Pure Heart is, and offers to take Mario and his friends there on one condition: he gets to be in charge. With Squirps' power, a portal appears to the next area. Squirps also grants the player the ability to shoot projectiles at enemies by pressing the previous jump button. But no, he's not a pixel. This verse is full of wormholes that go and lead to another area, so your goal is to go for the right wormhole in each screen to get to the end. Thankfully, there are no dead-end wormholes that can lead to other dead-end wormholes, so if you go for the wrong one, just go back for the one you came. Shooting lasers at enemies in this style is so much fun though. Pew pew pew, pew pew pew. Level 2 is on a planet with very low gravity but oxygen. Squirps knows of a secret route to a bypass here, which in turn leads to the Pure Heart. He doesn't exactly know where it is though, leaving us to find it while he goes to the bathroom. Even worse is how someone's taking up the porta potty. Knocking on the door reveals they've been in there for over 100 years, because there's no toilet paper. Really? I mean, okay, I don't mean to gross anyone out, but if I'm out of toilet paper, and there's no one to bring me some, I just go wherever toilet paper's stored to get some more, and if there's none left, well, I'm not sure what to do because that hasn't happened to me yet, but I just get out of there, or, you know what I mean? I'd rather, if I'm immortal, let's say, I'd rather just go around with an unwiped, you know, behind, than staying there for 100 years. I mean, is this guy... never mind. I don't want to gross anyone else out, so let's move on. So it's the player's job to go find some forever's in there. The gameplay here returns to normal, except for the low gravity, which makes your jumps floatier. Across the whole planet, you just go around, fight enemies, and keep moving forward until you reach this house of an old alien. He even speaks out of his belly button. Ugh, disgusting. Anyway, he's selling a treasure map for 1,000 coins, but Mario bargains it down to 10. Now guess what he uses this map for? Maybe we could use it to get to the bypass without squirps, or maybe find a treasure. But no, it's used as TP, seriously. It reminds me of that time in Majora's Mask where Link gives the deed to the toilet hand, but a lot less creepy. Out of the stall comes another pixel, Philippe, the Spanish flipper. His powers include flipping objects to discover secrets, or stunning enemies. With squirps relieved, we can flip a mysterious bolt and get the key that unlocks the bypass route. In verse 3, the playstyle switches back to the way it was in the first one, but without squirps for most of the level because he gets stuck in a special door from being too hungry to get out, so you have to go through all these wormholes to a mini-mart just to get the kid a chocolate bar. There's not too many enemies to compensate this, and Boomer still gets the job done okay. The only real bad thing in this level are these flipping bars, and a wormhole that leads to another wormhole that's in the same screen that the first wormhole was in. After that break stop, it's on to the place the pure heart is in, the Woe Zone, also given the nickname of the Space Graveyard. Squirps goes ahead for some reason, leaving Tippy awfully suspicious. The main gimmick of the Woe Zone is hitting switches to flip the way gravity pushes, either up, left, right, or down. You might be annoyed to hear that the controls get semi-reversed whenever this happens, but on the plus side, they aren't nearly as bad as most people would expect. Squirp somehow made it past everything because he's waiting for Mario in the final room when a mysterious voice speaks. Now it's showtime for Big Boss Mr. L, the before-mentioned speaker of said voice. Now look at that character design. He doesn't look familiar at all. Who could this be other than a bad boy sent by Bleck himself to give Red Cap a burial at space? Mr. L can jump around like the main hero, only he can also do a super jump. Green Thunder can even heal by taking out a Shroom Shake, and what's funny is you can actually snatch it from him with Throw and get it as an item. Mr. L also takes quite a few hits to beat, not to mention just how agile he is. Just when you think it's over though, you're proven wrong with a second phase where Mr. L uses his brother robot Brobot. This phase is like a space shooter, only with chocolate bars as power-ups to power up squirps. Some power up your projectiles, others work as a shield, while others give missiles. Brobot is pretty tough, I'm not gonna lie. He takes a lot of frickin' hits to destroy. He can fire this giant laser, suck with a vacuum, and move around very swiftly. It's just challenging enough to put the player on their toes, but not frustrating to the point of being like the rage-inducing King Galaxian and Pac-Man world. Oh god, that brings back frustrating memories. At least here you can use items and grind up levels if you really suck at it, but in that, yeah, I don't want to go over that, so. Robot is an awesome fight, but all good things must come to an end, with the machine destroyed and Mr. L retreating. The whole time, Squirps was telling the truth. 1,000 years ago, the queen of a space nation put her son Squirps into a capsule for the chosen four to find. Then she hid the pure heart in the Woe Zone so no one could get to it, to ensure the safety of the universe. I love how this goes to show that the destruction of the Void will be so great that even places far out in the universe won't be safe, making this the most dire quest of a Mario game that I'm aware of. I also feel sorry for poor Squirps. He's a prince, but his mom's dead now and he's all alone. He doesn't even go anywhere or make any friends either. All he does is stay in his room with the statue of his mother, but not before he hands out the pure heart. How about some more dark lore for ya? Because I honestly don't think I could get any more depressed. Mr. L shows up at the castle along with his fellow minions. Old Chucks and Menchio are sent out, and we find out some more about the Count. Apparently, he once cherished the universe like no one else did because of the love of his life, but she passed away, with Natasha wishing she was the Count's true love. This is dark stuff, Nan. Now, does anyone see why I love SPM so much? Okay, let's make this stop at Flipside quick, because these transitions are starting to get repetitive, because, aw man, Tippy passed out, and Merlin tells us everything. A long time ago, he found a woman on the verge of death, cursed to wander dimensions for eternity. She was so close to death that there was nothing he could do other than transform her into a pixel. Nothing is known about who she was since she lost her memory, but she might not be able to stay in her pixel form for much longer. In the meantime, you're supposed to go find the next heart pillar. All around Flipside, there doesn't seem to be another. The only thing near is this bolt near the card shop, like the one in outer space. Using Fleep on it causes a hole in the wall to appear, leading to some sort of temple with blocks. Now, I honestly have no clue how this puzzle even works, but basically what I do is just hit all the blocks repeatedly, and hit them in different orders until, the puzzle gets solved. Another hole in the wall appears, leading to a spot behind the mirrors, only darker. Outside you see the normal message of where you are, but instead of Flipside it says, Flopside? That's right, but not quite alter ego version of Flipside, because everyone isn't evil here like they would be if that was the case, but some changes are apparent. Like the item shop guy being sad, or this kid who likes cards and flip not liking cards and flop. We even meet Null Rem, the alternate version of Merlin. The heart pillar is in the same spot as the first one in Flipside, only flipped around. The chapter 5 door opens in Flipside and not Flopside, by the way. No doors are in the tower here for quite a while. Back on the upper tower, Tippy is now feeling better, even chipper than usual, wanting to be closer to Mario as we open a new door. Where does it lead? Well, in the style of Mario 2, in a land of a prehistoric people, the Kragons. The tribe has been repeatedly attacked and raided by a flower people, known as the Floral Sapiens. They've taken so many Kragons away to become slaves, that the species could go extinct, and our new task is to stop that from happening. Outside of the village is just a cliff with these empty blocks. Back in town, this Kragon gives you a code. After hitting the blocks in the right order, a warp pipe appears, leading to another area full of these mammoths, which are some of the most powerful enemies in this game. Like seriously, they take like 20 freaking hits to destroy, even with Bowser and Hot Sauce and all that. But you run into another dead end and some more empty blocks, so you go back to town and find the same guy. But this time, he wants you to say please like 4 times. Seriously, why? Why do you want me to do that, dude? And after that, you do get the code, but the code he gives is too frickin' long. Just look at this monstrosity. You need a pencil and paper to write this down because I don't think anyone could ever memorize this thing. After that, go back here and hit the blocks in the right order and the level is over. Verse 2 is where things get a little more fun. The Floral Sapiens go down a pipe with the Kragons they kidnapped and cover it up with a block that looks awfully familiar. All across the place are stone tablets. One is at the bottom of a lake, another is inside of a black flame-shaped stone, and on the way to the last one is none other than Chucks. This time he's serious, he's tough, and he's remembering getting ditched by a date. Dimentio also comes in, and using his magic creates an arena, just like the one we fought him in Chapter 3. Surprisingly, this fight is a lot easier. Maybe it's because I used Bowser, but it took a lot less time than at first. Chucks is ready to die, when Dimentio comes in and tells him to do one last thing for the count, which motivates him, and he farts away. Weird. Finally, we get the last tablet by walking in a circle around his stuff, and now let's get our reward. On top of this mountain, there's a bunch of slots for the tablets. Inserting them in the right order unlocks a new pixel, Cudge. Like everyone would assume, Cudge works like a hammer, breaking yellow blocks, as well as being the best pixel to fight enemies with. Oh, and Cudge screams whatever you type in right before getting him. So how about everyone, subscribe, without an E. Smashing the block and going down this pipe right here leads to a cave, which is the same cave that the kidnapped Kragons certainly are in. The first thing we run into down here isn't a monster or anything like that, but one of those fake TV adventurers, Flint Cragley. His crew got lost, who just so happened to also have the key which leads deeper into the caverns. So now we have yet more people to rescue, yay! At the end of the minecart tunnels are each of Cragley's crew, the cameraman and sound operator. When he returned to Flint though, he pulls a bell them by insisting someone else had the key, when he had it the whole time. Behind this door lies the deepest part of the caverns, where we will hopefully find the Kragons and the 6th pure heart. The Floral Sapiens earned the name Sapien from all of this machinery and high-tech screening, but unfortunately, we need a sprout to get through this door and a keycard to get through this one. Nearby, there's the best spot ever to ever grind experience in a game ever. Basically, there's this pipe right here and a question mark block, and you can get on top of it and use Bowser's Fire to kill these Floral Sapien enemies, and they die in like 1 hit. So just get a clip chip and put it on your Wii remote and down on the D-pad and just hold it there, and you're you're gonna need to watch it, because when you level up, you have to hit 2 to get past that screen. You just sit there and read a book or watch YouTube on your phone while you level up. But you're probably never gonna need to grind in this game that much because it's really easy, but if you have trouble, you know where to go. Down further in the caverns, we meet yet another pixel, Dodie. She can shrink the party small, making it possible to get through tight spots, including this one, which gets us a key card. In the room, we have a fight with old Chucks, which is the same as last. We even get to keep the Sprout after fighting him, granting access to the final room. One weird thing you'll notice though is that Dementio says the heroes are coming along nicely? Whose side is he on exactly? Now that we've been screened for COVID-19, I mean, Slay verified, we get into the final room right before the boss. There's a puzzle where you have to match the switch with the color of the painting above, and one thing I've never noticed is that if you try to climb a ladder as Bowser, he basically says he can't do it, and that's actually kind of funny. I guess that's an ingenious way not to have to program another ladder climb animation. King Crocus is in the final room. He's the one who enslaved the Kragons and also holds the pure heart. Can I just say though, he looks really creepy, and it's so weird that he looks so feminine, but he's a male. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that, but in this context, it is really weird. The king has a leaf shield around him, which he occasionally pops out of every once in a while. There's also these flower weight things to jump on and reach the king earlier in the fight, while later on he moves around freely, where the leaf blade weight things wander across the room. This boss is no joke. He will take damage all the time, and it's so hard to get a good hit on him. Guess who's good at this fight though? That's right, the classic Bowser and carry combo, added with a little meat to double your attack power. Bowser really isn't my first choice for most of the game because of how slow he is, but man does he pack a punch. And a question comes next of, did we just kill our opponent or only defeat him? And we killed him, or quote unquote, wilted him, same frickin' thing. Some plural sapiens come in and tell us that the king was just trying to look out for his people. The Kragons had dumped all their trash in the river, and that was their only water source. The polluted water that Crocus had to drink damaged his mind and made him go insane, and that's why he did the things that he did. Flint Cragley proves himself useful by using his celebrity status to tell all the Kragons about the water situation. He even makes a peace deal with the Florals, and all his people are freed. The pure heart is given to us, making this the biggest misunderstanding in Mario history that I'm aware of. Bleck's minions are impatiently waiting for him, with Mimi and Mr. L constantly complaining. Eventually they both go outside the Count's orders to stand by, and try to chase after and defeat the heroes anyway. In flip side, we find another heart pillar, place the pure heart we just got inside of it, and another door opens. But before we go there, how about we do some side quests first? Starting off, let's finally get the flip side Pit of 100 trials done and over with. I should mention that Thousand Year Door also has a Pit of 100 trials, but the reward in my opinion isn't worth the time, but still cool nonetheless. It's a bag that lets you store like 20 items instead of 10, and a bunch of items and badges. The Pit of 100 Trials in SPM, at least the flip side one, is much easier though than the Thousand Year Door one. In fact, you could probably beat it after Chapter 3 if you really wanted to, but I waited until now because I wanted to be on the safe side. The labyrinth goes like this: you enter a room, fight a bunch of enemies until one of them drops a key, then use it to open a door to the next room. Rinse and repeat 100 times, with the enemies getting steadily stronger. There are no items except from this guy, and the only way out is an exit, but only one of those are open every 10 floors, along with a rare card. Make sure you're leveled up and bring the best items you can find, because getting a game over here means you have to start all over again. On the 100th floor of the pit, Fractal's newer model, Raptail, lurks, but unlike his brother, this one is extremely hostile to the chosen ones. The way he's fought in is the same though, but unlike last time, Peach can use her umbrella to float over to his head after a phase is over. Ragtail is pretty tough depending on what level the player's at, but you can wait until after you beat the game if you want. The final reward for completing this task is totally worth it though. You get another pixel, Dashel. He is useful, he boosts your speed by a lot. After getting Dashel, it's so hard to start a new file all over again because it's so freaking convenient running with him. It's like playing Red and Blue after playing like anything after Ruby and Sapphire, or playing the whole game all over again, or a Pokemon game all over again, I should say, without the bike. It's hard to do. There's also a flopside pit of 100 trials, but I'm not doing that because it is really, really hard, and you have to do it twice, and I'm lazy, so we're not doing it. I am going to do another side quest though, this one being pretty easy. Merlee has opened up a new shop in Flopside, but along the way she lost her crystal ball, and asked us to get one from Merlee in Flipside. Merlee will give us the crystal ball when we go ask her, but she wants a favor from us first. Get a trading device from Bestovis, so we go to him and he asks for a you-know-what from his cousin Watch It. And Watch It wants, guess what, a favor from us. He's gotten dreams and visions from Melamia and wants us to go tell her to get out of his dreams. So we go to the chamber and she tells us some more stories that put us to sleep, and we get her autograph. We exchange that for a you-know-what, we exchange a you-know-what for a DS, and a DS for a crystal ball. Finally, Merlee gives us a key to an unknown door to somewhere. There just so happens to be a locked house in Flopside, which the key perfectly fits into. Inside is our 11th and final pixel, Piccolo, who is completely useless. All she does is play a musical tune and change some sound effects. She can cure curses and break music blocks, but there's only like 2 of them in her whole game, and curses don't even last very long, so this is kind of a waste of time if you don't like the side quest and like the story stuff about it. I swear, if this was the reward for the pit of 100 trials, I wouldn't try to defend this game at all. With those quests completed, I think it's time to get back to the main campaign though, so let's go do that. This time around, we have a land based off of old Japan, the Samur Kingdom. Here the void is humongous, meaning this world will probably be the first to go. Despite this, the king holds the pure heart, and we'll give it to Mario if he fights in the duel of 100. The goal is for Mario to fight 100 samurai guys, who are closer to enemies in terms of stats than bosses, which isn't too bad considering Bowser can obliterate all of them in a matter of seconds. There's not really much else to say other than you fight a bunch of guys. In Duel 20, the void grows even larger, taking up the entire sky, and Cowplex comes in to see the show. He sees all worlds and everything as useless, being better off as erased forever. He does reveal he did care about one thing once. Someone named him Pawnee, which rings a bell with Tippy. With the Samur Kingdom coming to an end, the tournament is cancelled, with the rest of the Samur guys standing down. In the next verse, the king finally sees the light and straight up gives us the pure heart. Only, it's a trap? Why, who could have done such a thing? Who else other than its shape-shifting imp, Mimi? She took the real king's place and fights the heroes in a boss battle to waste their time. By the time she escapes, it's over and the void consumes the kingdom. Mario and Co wake up on Flipside Tower. The world must be gone, but the door still remains. When you finally get the nerve to go back, you're met with an unsettling sight. A world of nothing. The background's all white, like it's a blank canvas. There's some furniture and such here and there occasionally, but everyone is dead. Let me repeat that. Everyone who has lived here is dead. Or deleted. Whatever way they want to put it to tone it down for a family, you get what's going on. You keep going on, but see nothing until you reach the pure heart. But there's something off about it. The glow is gone and replaced with a stone-cold texture. Will this thing even work, you wonder? Just then, it's Mr. L, who's come to stop us once and for all. This time he fights us in Brobot, but in a regular battle style instead of a shooter mode like last time. He's hard to hit, has some very hard to dodge attacks, and can take quite a few punches, even with Bowser. Even so, he's still no match for us, and we get another pure heart. After the heroes leave, Mr. L wakes up alone, until Dementio pays him a visit. The Green Thunder is ashamed to show his face to Black again. The Jester takes this the wrong way and murders his fellow minion. With no one else there to know of his actions, Dementio could just tell the Count that Mr. L must have come back too late and got deleted along with the rest of the kingdom. Chilling. Truly chilling. But if you can believe it, what comes next is even darker. Not knowing what to do with their new pet rock, the quartet go back to Merlin to see what to do next. Merlin, however, doesn't even know what to do next, and says the pure heart won't do anything if we put it in a heart pillar, meaning we're screwed, and the world is doomed! Dementio even waltzes in just to rub it in, and I love how Bowser is more annoyed about wasting his time than the world coming to an end. The Jester further solidifies the impending doom by ending the lives of Mario, Peach, and Bowser, with Merlee, Tippy, and the other Pixels standing there mortified at what they just saw. Moments later, Mario wakes up in hell. That's right, Bowser Door might have had demons and stuff, but in SPM, you actually go to hell itself. Well, it's not like the Christianity's version of hell, you know, Lake of Fire. It's more like the Greek underworld version. But it's still unsettling nonetheless, and dark, and I have no clue how this got through the rating board. Many souls roam around, they tell you many things, but this is the Underwear, the place where people whose sins outweigh their good deeds go to when they die. And there's another place too, the Over There, where people who have many good deeds go to when they pass away. We must go to Queen Jady's to have her sins weighed, to decide which place the plumber will spend eternity. No one else is with you, by the way. Not Tippy, not Bowser, not Peach, not even other Pixels, just him himself. So this part can be pretty challenging. You can flip and jump, and that's pretty much it. On the way there is the River Twigs, based off the River Styx from Greek mythology. There is a ferry ride over there, but the gondolier says that the river is a collection of sinners' tears. That's a lot of frickin' tears. How many people have been crying over here? That's gotta be like years and years of, no, millennia of crying. That's not possible. Queen Jady's herself is a little shocked that we still have a pure heart with us, but gets a phone call, yeah, a phone call, about someone named Loveby going missing. Quite recently though, someone sunk down to the bottom of the River Twigs. She says it's unlikely to be Loveby, but gives us the key to the sewers below the riverbed anyway, and we go down there. So far you're thinking, okay, this place isn't so bad, no one's being tortured or impaled or beheaded or anything. Well, just wait here, because the River Twigs is where all the really, really bad people go, like Hitler, after they die supposedly. In the water, you can see these enemies, known as underhands. They try to grab you. Could it be that they're souls grabbing for a way out of what they've been punished to? Well, the music would suggest it. Some players have sworn, although I can't hear it myself, that you can hear the words in the music, "Forgive me and help me," while listening to it. Well, now, I honestly can't hear this at all, but it's creepy nonetheless. Overall, I think this is the creepiest location to ever be in a Nintendo game. Just like I said in my top 10 creepiest Nintendo levels videos, but I don't want to dwell on that much longer, so let's move on. At the bottom of the riverbed is a door, which leads to the sewers. There's some puzzles with water, and Mario can somehow change the water level by talking to a switch. He doesn't even have to touch it, just say, "Hey." I wish I could do that. In a back area at the bottom of the sewers, at the bottom of a river of eternal punishment in hell, is Luigi. Can't really get any more lost than that, can ya? With the bros reunited, Luigi agrees to come along with Mario to help find Loveby, and now after all that time, the Green Bean finally joins the party. He is the best by far at platforming, being able to jump much higher than anyone else, and if that wasn't enough, he can also do a super jump, which pretty much breaks the game. He's even able to jump these pipes and get up to a previously blocked area where Loveby was hiding. She insults the bros, wanting a prince to rescue her instead, and asks us to guess her name. After you do so, she runs back to her mother, Queen Jady's. Queen Jady's manages to revive the pure heart and gives us some good news. The bros aren't actually dead, just warped to the Underwear, and with a magic spell, Jady's warps them back to Flipside. Everyone is happy we're okay, but what about Peach and Bowser? All we can do is put the next heart in a pillar and hope we find him in the next world. Where does this one take place? Well, Dimentio sure kept his promise, because it's the Underwear. There's a pure heart somewhere in this afterlife, so let's go ask Queen Jady's about it. She's shocked and tells us to ask the King of the Overbear about it, and also asks us to take her daughter, Loveby, there so she can return there safely, for you see, a monster escaped that was locked in the deepest section of the Underwear, even deeper than the River Twigs, and all her men are busy trying to locate it. She's kind of annoying, honestly, and talks in Old English. Oh, I'm sorry, early modern English. Might as well be another frickin' language. The Queen opens a door to the Underwear Road, the road between the two realms. Well, it's less of a road though, and more like a temple. You must navigate many dark rooms and get up to the top of a room and answer the riddle of a door guy. I love how at the beginning of the question, he leads you on to believe that it's a math puzzle or something, and then he just asks you like, who rules the Underwear and stuff like that. In the next room, we find 3 guys trying to keep a locked door shut, with them thinking that the beast is in there. But no, it's just Bowser. He's confused and angry, so thinking that the bros just left him there to get rid of him, he fights them. And you know what I hate? How come he has so much HP? I only have 45, but he has at least 80. And as soon as he's back in the party, his HP's back down. What's with that? Oh well, at least his attack power isn't as high as it would have been otherwise, or yikes. With Bowser rejoining the party, those guys give us the key to the next room, where Bowser's fire can light up the room for a short period of time. There's another door guy on the top of this one too, but instead of asking questions, you have to memorize shapes. What am I, 6? Finally, there's an old lady who asks you to get a book from someone earlier in a level, so she warps you back to the start. At least I don't have to backtrack back there, but why isn't there a portal or something so you don't have to backtrack there again? Now that she has her diet book, she rewards us with what else but a key. On to the final stretch with the return of the Flump Wheels and another door guy, but unlike the others, this one doesn't ask riddles. No, he makes you battle your way out of this one, not like in any other battle in the game. No, but in the style of a Mother or Dragon Quest game against the Underchomp. Much effort went into this, and yet it's the only fight in the whole game that's like this. You can use pixels, special techniques, etc. I don't know what all the pixels do during this fight, but I do know that this would have made a great side boat or something. With that beast slain, to hell with hell and on to heaven. Verse 3 is the heavenly gap between the 2 realms, the over there stair, and in the sky is the void. Now you can tell things are really bad if the afterlife, the freaking afterlife is doomed. Like in the Great Tree, the goal is to reach higher and higher and occasionally solve puzzles and stuff. Unlike the guys who had to suffer in the crappy land below, Peach got the luxury of being teleported to the over there stair. She ate the golden fruit, which permanently puts her to sleep like Snow White, and the only way to wake her up is with the taboo fruit. We don't even know what the taboo fruit looks like, and there are a lot of trees around with fruits, but you only need 2, a black one and a red one. The black one wakes up Peach from her slumber, making our party full for the first time ever. With her parasol, we can float across a big gap, leading to an even higher part of the stair. Near the very top is a Clyde who wants to get bigger. Giving him the red fruit I said to save earlier does just that, and voila, 7 floors, all that's left between now and getting the final pure heart. The Overfair itself is a dungeon that doesn't look like one. Lumpy's father, Granby, the king of the Overfair, has been taken prisoner. Yeah, God being held prisoner. And to get to the place he's being held at, you need to collect 3 orbs. The first 2 aren't that hard to get, but the last one is hidden in a section that's off screen, meaning it takes freaking forever to finally figure out you can get over there. Once you collect all the orbs, the bridge to the palace is rebuilt, and a fight between the inhabitants of the Overfair and the bad guys takes place, with the best quote of all time, "Thou art toast!" Inside the palace is Grampy, and the closest thing to the devil in a Mario game, Bone Chill. He's the monster that escaped from the underwear and has been searching for the pure heart. To make things even more shocking, it's revealed that Loveby is the pure heart, and he can't have that, so we go on to go chill Bone Chill's bones. The only way to damage a thing is by attacking the head with Luigi's super jump, and I really need to stop using items that double attack power, because I beat him in 30 seconds flat. So if Loveby is the pure heart, what will become of her? Granby and JD's try to comfort Loveby, but she has an emotional moment. I mean, she has to give up her life to become an object in order to save the universe. She technically isn't even alive. Just imagine what this would feel like. This is probably the second most emotional part of the story. Just seeing her argue with what she thought were her parents at first, and then saying she loves them, it just breaks my heart. Eventually though, she gives up her life and becomes a pure heart in order to save the universe, making her our biggest hero. Of all the pure hearts collected, Count Bleck doesn't seem to care or worry about the heroes coming for him. His minions go to wait for Mario to defend the Count, and we even learn his true name, Blumiere. He even has suspicions that the pixel he ran into earlier might have been his lost love, Tympania. But as he says, there's nothing anyone can do now. On the flip side, Tippy seems to remember Blumiere and is sad to learn we must destroy him to save the world. We put Loveby in the final heart pillar, creating one last giant door appearing on Flopside Tower, with Merlin and Norlem waiting for you. Be sure to get the best items you can find, because it's finally the moment you've been waiting for during the whole journey. It's time to enter Count Bleck's castle. Bleck has no intentions of saving himself, making everything even more depressing. The castle is confusing, and the enemies are tough as nails. At the end of each stage, one of the heroes fights one boss. Bowser and Old Chucks have one last fight before the ceiling crashes down, with them both sacrificing themselves to save the others. In 8-2, Mimi uses her shape-shifting to disguise herself as Merlin and Merlee, asking Mario questions like, what's the thing he hates the most? What's neat is there's an option for Francis. If you choose him, he actually gets warped there, but at this point you'll be way stronger, so he's a complete pushover now. In the end path, Peach and Mimi have a fight, but unlike last time, she turns back into her awful form, neck snap and all. Peach and Mimi are also met with a terrible fate, leaving just the bros and Tippy. In 8-3, we run into Dimentio. He has us play a game of hide and seek, where we search through various levels in the game to find secret bolts to warp to the next area. Once you go all around the multiverse and back to the castle, Dimentio reveals his and Count Bleck's true intentions. Count Bleck doesn't plan to remake the world like he said earlier. He plans to permanently leave everything in ruin forever. Dimentio was also the one who rescued Peach earlier in the game, and purposely made sure everyone was strong enough to defeat Count Bleck, but he too has selfish intentions. Mario and Luigi refuse the offer, with the latter staying to fight the magician, but Jester gets the last laugh unfortunately, as he creates a firebox around him and Luigi. Mario is now the only hero left standing. Can he alone stop the Dark Prophecy? Next is the final verse of the final chapter, 8-4. This level is tough. There's a maze where you have to flip into 3D, and that's confusing, and there's also tons of enemies, a lot of which have over 200 HP. After what feels like an eternity, you see something. A save block and a question mark block, but has an ultra shroom inside of it, all next to a big door, and I think we all know what lies behind it. The moment we've been waiting for is here. It's the fight with Blumiere, the Count, the wielder of the Dark Prophecy. Right here is the biggest reason why I love this game so much. Now, I think everyone can guess the story by now, but as a kid, it shocked me to my core. Tippy is Count Bleck's lost love, a woman he loved so much that when he lost her, it drove him insane, and it made him become what he is now. Like I mentioned earlier, after each chapter you get these storylines, and they all make sense now and tell a story. I might make a video someday telling the whole story, but for now here's the simplified version. Blumiere was a member of a tribe, the Tribe of Darkness, but one day while injured, a human named Timpani takes care of him. She doesn't care about what he is, and over time they decide to see each other more often, and then they madly fall in love. Before they can get married however, Blumiere's father takes Timpani and traps her into dimensional limbo, leaving her to die. However, this is where Merlin found Tippy and transforms her into a pixel. Meanwhile, Blumiere is so devastated that he reads the Dark Prophecy, despite his father's warnings. So full of grief, he sees himself as the one in the book who causes the destruction of all worlds. He embraces his depression, not caring about any life, including his own, and destroys his whole home. Got all that? Well good, because things don't get any less complicated from this point on. It's far too late to change things back to normal, unless the Count is no longer living, since the Chaos Heart is bound to him. And since it's bound to him, he's completely invincible. Just when it looks like all hope is lost though, Bowser, Peach, and Luigi come in. They're alive! And with all four heroes united, the Pure Hearts counteract the Chaos Heart, disabling its magic. Now it's the real boss fight. Count Bleck has 150 HP and can create black holes to suck you in or slow you down to the point of being helpless. He flies across the screen and warps, making it hard to hit him, so Luigi is the best choice for this battle. There's also a good chance that when jumping, you'll get sucked into one of the Count's holes, but eventually, Blumiere sees the light. He sees the damage he's caused, and wants to reverse it. The only way to do that is for him to die. Just then, Natasia comes in and takes a hit for Bleck. Who did this? Well, who else other than Dimentio? But Jester was always planning on betraying his boss, and used us to waste the Pure Hearts with the previous fight. He steals the Chaos Heart, and we finally know the identity of Mr. L. Luigi? Like it wasn't already obvious. Before he sent Luigi to the underwear, he planted a mind control sprout in him, and together with himself and the Chaos Heart, becomes a super powerful magic robot. With this, he'll create a new universe with himself as king, but first he warps everyone but the chosen ones to his new dimension. Try as you might, but this super Dimentio cannot be harmed no matter what, and a void finally starts to devour the world. Flip side, Yule Town, the land of Kragons, and more. It seems as all hope is lost when Old Chucks and Mimi come into the realm where Bleck and Tippy are in. They pledge loyalty to the Count no matter what, and all of his love creates more pure hearts out of nowhere. These once again cancel out the Chaos Heart's power, taking away Super Dimentio's invulnerability, but he's still a hard boss with over 200 HP, lock-on missiles, moving platforms to climb, not to mention him constantly moving his head, which is his only weak point. Worst of all is how you can't use Luigi. He would put this boss to shame, but I guess the devs realized that and wanted to make things more epic. Even Bowser and double attack power items don't help because they really don't make it any easier to hit him. I think the best thing about this fight is the music. Its tune is awesome. It's a mix of Mr. L's theme, Count Bleck's theme, and of course Dimentio's theme. The title of it is fitting too, The Ultimate Showdown. Well, this showdown's over because this clown is toast. He says he's been saving one last surprise for us. What could this be? Luigi is freed, and Bleck and everyone else are freed, but the Count gives us some bad news. Dimentio created a clone of himself to carry the Chaos Heart. It won't last long, but will last long enough to see the universe to its destruction. Then we get one of the most emotional scenes in a game I've ever played so far. Tippy and Bleck finally get married, and her love is strong enough to create more pure hearts, and that's able to reverse the void, but not without taking the lives of the couple. Every world is restored, the heroes meet back in Flipside, the credits roll, and the story ends with one last image of the Count and his love sitting atop a hill. Super Paper Mario truly is an incredible game. It's such a shame that nobody likes it. The story is just incredible. I remember crying at the end of it the first time I played this. In fact, even though this is like my 9th playthrough, plus I'm an adult now, it still puts a tear to my eye. The thing about it though is that it gives me a feeling of happiness, of awesomeness of being alive. Very few games make me feel this way story-wise. The only other ones I can think about are the Mother games, Majora's Mask, and the other Paper Mario games to a lesser extent. The characters are very fleshed out, plus we can't forget all the amazing humor. The thing though is, everyone complains about Mario games today being too similar to each other. Now, out of every game I've played in the franchise, this is probably the most different one from the bunch, and yet people still complain about it. I guess it's all because of the gameplay not being like the first two installments, and I get that, but it's still pretty good. Sure, it takes some time to get used to, but that's no excuse to keep bashing it over and over again. If you're watching this video right now and want to go buy the game for yourself, just do it. It's only like 10 to 20 bucks. And I'm sorry if I spoiled the whole thing for you, but hey, I gave you a warning at the beginning. As for the other Paper Marios, well, I'll play the other free someday. Sticker Star is for a 3DS, and recording on a 3DS is impossible unless you buy a modded system. Unfortunately, the main manufacturer of them has stopped, so the only way I can record it is either getting a camera really up close to it, or the result would look like utter crap. And I'm not skipping it to get to the other two, Color Splash and Origami King. I want to play all these games in order. Plus, I don't even own Origami King yet, but I promise that as soon as I do get a modded 3DS with capture and an HDMI capture card, I'll review the other three. But until then, this has been Josh from Alpha Leaf Gaming.